retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration, beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No place to say to see. Just like the wind. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special edition Tuesday stream. Haven't streamed on a Tuesday in a little bit, and we're bringing back TGI Tuesday because when DJ Storms streams on a Tuesday, it's always going to be a good day. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the official rundown for NXT BattleGround and WWE Night of Champions 2023, which of course both shows are streaming live this weekend on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Of course, we got Night of Champions live from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, streaming live this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And Sunday, we'll host NXT BattleGround, streaming live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to pathetically counter AEW Double or Nothing. But regardless, I am here, and I am not alone. Here to help me preview and predict these shows, he is a fellow New Jersey brethren. He is a lifelong wrestling fan. He is the creator of the PWP Nation Facebook page, website. He is a good friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome back to the channel once again, Mr. Jay Alletto. How you doing, my dog?
Fantastic. DJ Storms, what's up, man? Thanks for having me back in the show. I'm excited to talk about wrestling with you right here tonight.
It's my pleasure, man. Pleasure is all mine. We always have a good time talking about wrestling. You always bring a good analytical stance to the table, which is why I always love having you on the channel. And we are here to talk about the two shows that WWE has decided to host this Memorial Day weekend. And let me tell you something, man. I'm going to be quite honest. I'm looking at these cards, and I'm not going to tell you that they're bad cards, because they're not. I'm not going to sit here and shit on the overall card. We could end up getting some damn good fucking wrestling at the end of the day. And you know what? I have full confidence that both of these shows are going to end up turning out to be somewhat decent. But the problem with NXT, I'll talk about NXT first because we'll be dissecting that first. The problem with NXT is the fact that they've just completely gutted NXT a few years back, and NXT television right now easily is the worst wrestling show in the entire fucking industry. I cannot fucking stand it. It's not even because of the talent. It's because the creative direction on the show, it's just fucking childish. It's downright fucking lame. Now, their pay-per-views, they end up putting on some decent fucking pay-per-views, but normally what's been happening is they put on something decent on a Saturday or a Sunday, depending on when the pay-per-view is, and they fail to follow up with it on Tuesday. That's NXT's problem. And then with the main roster problem, ever since coming out of WrestleMania, these shows, Raw and SmackDown, have just been completely and utterly lifeless. The pay-per-views have been fine. Backlash ended up being a damn good show, and I have full confidence the Night of Champions is going to be a damn good show. Crown Jewel had a very lackluster build last year, and it turned out to be a fantastic show, headlined by a great main event with Logan Paul and Roman Reigns. But seeing where WWE is right now, they just do not put any effort into their weekly shows. I say it all the time. If they put just not even half, 25% of what they put into pay-per-views into their weekly shows, we would end up getting something decent on a Monday night or something decent on a Friday night. And I've stated this, and I'm going to hand it over to you after I state this. I've stated it numerous times on my show. At the end of the day, WWE is just a lazy fucking company, and I can't stand it. But I'm going to hand it over to you. Have you taken a look at these two cards, or is right now going to be the first time that you're going to be hearing about them?
No, yes, I have. I've stayed up to date on what's happening in the wrestling industry. As you're well aware, my main focus right now is the Facebook page at PWP Nation. So check that out, guys. And I'm keeping up to date. I know exactly what's going on in NXT and in WWE. And I see you're spitting venom tonight, bro. A lot of remarks there towards the WWE booking of the events this weekend up against Double or Nothing. And it's, this is Wrestling 101, right? This is nothing new to me. This is nothing new to anybody who's been watching wrestling for many decades now. It's just a part of the business, competition. And this is what we're going to see. AEW's in a weird predicament right now. They're not putting out the best content they have. So, WWE smells a little bit of blood in the water, and they're going to counter program. And I know Shawn Michaels was trying to say, hey, we normally run on Memorial Day weekend. No, you don't. You don't normally run Memorial Day weekend. You normally run house shows Memorial Day weekend, guys. You will run shows, but they're normally in Peoria, Illinois, or Sheboygan, Wisconsin, or whatever. They're not pay-per-view events. So, I get what they're doing. I understand they're trying to stack the deck against AEW, but, Tony Khan said he's not going to put up with this stuff a couple pay-per-views ago. Maybe that was about a year ago now almost. So I'm not going to put up with this anymore. But it's going to keep happening. This is just a part of the game. And if AEW is going to persevere through it, they're going to have to put up a really good show this weekend.
No, I understand that. But here's the thing. Competition's always good. But the problem is that if we were going to get some decent competition between these two companies, then we would actually have to have effort on WWE's side. That's the problem. Here's the thing. Tony Khan has had his fair share of issues. And for the most part, I'm actually going to disagree with you on this. Outside of the month of April, I would say that AEW has actually been putting their best foot forward this year thus far, especially with the last couple of weeks leading up to Double or Nothing and the way that they've assembled this show and how Revolution was as well. Revolution, easily their best pay-per-view that they've ever put on. The problem, like I stated with WWE, is that they're lazy. You can call Tony Khan all you want, but Tony Khan is not a lazy individual. Matter of fact, I've said it once before. He's doing too much. He's doing too much, and he needs to spread out the responsibilities amongst a certified team of well-known and well-knowledgeable wrestling individuals to help take the load off of his back, at least just a little bit. The problem with WWE is, like I said, look, if you're going to do some good competition, just give me some good shows. And they really haven't been doing that. And it really is just coming off as petty. Plus, I'm really done with all of this war, this new ratings war with WWE and AEW. I'm really, really sick of it. I'm sick of the fucking egos clashing. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, all I fucking want is to sit for however many hours, to sit for 3 hours on Monday or 4 hours on a Sunday. I just want to watch a good fucking wrestling show. That's all I give a shit about. So I'd like to hope that both of these shows will give us something of substance. I will be watching Double or Nothing live. I'll watch NXT BattleGround after I do my review for Double or Nothing. That'll probably be on Memorial Day. But before we get into what we're going to get into and the specifics, I'm going to hand it over to you once again. Where can everybody find you on social media?
You can find me at my name, Jay Alletto. That's ALLETTO. I'm always over there. You can find me at PWP Nation. I have an eBay store set up. If you want to buy some stuff, some swag from me, you could check out my eBay store, the PWP Nation shop. Anything that you want to find relating to me, head over to pwpnation.com. The news stories aren't updated, but all my links are over there. And of course, I do have a link tree set up in my Twitter bios. You can check out the link tree as well. And we got a lot of good things coming up, brother. We've got some different kind of ideas I have in the works for Facebook, right? Facebook is really prioritizing live content. So I'm thinking about doing some live short form content, maybe 10, 15-minute reaction shows here and there after wrestling events. So got a lot of things in the pipeline. And once again, as always, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this conversation tonight.
And of course, you can check out all of Jay Alletto's links in the description of this video, including the PWP Nation Facebook page, the YouTube channel, his personal Twitter, and the website as well. You can follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram specifically, at HistoryMaker DJS. You will see that scrolling along the bottom there on the ticker, at HistoryMaker DJS. You can add me on Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, stormstakeover@gmail.com, like the official DJ Storms business page. And I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook, that is, in which Mr. Jay Alletto is an official member of, one of the OG members. Of course, you can share whatever you want in my group. I am very, very lax when it comes to it. Don't be a retard, because then you're going to get your ass kicked. Regardless of that, I got new DJ Storms business cards coming your way, and I may just be able to hand some of those out at 90s WrestleCon, which is going down in the Rockaway Mall in Rockaway, New Jersey on September 30th of this year. Shout out to Tommy Fierro. I will also be at Garrett Mountain Mania for ISPW this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, the Eye of the Storm returns with my special guest, one half of the now Vic Delicious. He is a very, very humble guy, and I was very, very fortunate enough to get the opportunity to interview him. He will talk about his origins, how he formed the Now with Hale Collins, overcoming his battle with alcoholism, and many, many, many more topics. You are not going to want to miss that. On Thursday, Wrestling with Savage, shout out to him. He's going to come on my channel for the rundown for AEW Double or Nothing. Special early lightning flash update this Saturday at 10 a.m. because we got Night of Champions at 1 p.m. Let me tell you something. The grind never stops for good old DJ Storms O Shizzle. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. So early LFU at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And of course, Sunday, the rewind for Night of Champions with my man Hula Grim at 2 p.m. And of course, on Memorial Day, the rewind for Double or Nothing with Robert of Philly Sports Talk Podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description, including the links in the description to my very good friend, Brittany K. She is a designer. She designs all sorts of pictures of wrestlers like Karrion Kross in the House of Black, Bray Wyatt, Jon Moxley, Scarlett, and plenty more from scratch on an iPad. She is phenomenal. So if you're looking for some good edits, maybe some new Twitter abbies, some Twitter banners, go and check her out. Her Twitter is at BrittanyK5150. Her Instagram is at BrittanyK Of course, you already know, if you're watching on YouTube, either on my channel or the Hardcore Sports channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are over 600 subs on the Hardcore Sports channel. We are over 2,100 subs for my channel. And when you subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, I got to get this one in. Oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because it's the only time that you're going to get to see this glorious and pristine sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Earl Cole is not in the chat, but I'm going to light it up for him anyway with this beautifully crafted magical ace comb with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like a spicy pizza pie, a pepperoni right out of the oven. I am just so good. You already know everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. But we're not going to waste any more time. Let us get straight into the festivities. Let's go over NXT BattleGround first. The build has been just like every other NXT and or WWE pay-per-view. Lackluster as shit. The pay-per-view card in itself looks decent, so I will say that. And there are a couple of matches that I'm actually looking forward to on this show. Let's actually start with Ilya Dragunov versus Dijak in a last man standing match, which is probably the match I'm looking forward to the most on NXT Battleground. I'm actually going to hand it over to you, Jay. Give me your expertise analysis on this and who you think is going to come out victorious here.
Two absolute studs. Real quick, though, I just want to give a shout out to Vic Delicious. There's never been a better wrestling name. That is one of the best wrestling names of all
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Vic Delicious. Are you kidding me? So let's get back into Dragunov. Dragunov is clearly a guy that Triple H is fully behind, right? And Shawn Michaels, the entire machine, loves this guy. It makes sense with the feud, the way it's been going, to have a last man standing match. Um, if you were going to have Dragunov go over Dijak by pinfall, that wouldn't be so outstanding to me. It seems like Dijak is so much bigger than him. But last man standing, I get it. I think there's a way you can work a very solid finish here. I think Dragunov's got a lot of potential for the future. I think he's going to probably be on Monday Night Raw sooner than later. He lit up the NXT UK brand for a lot of years, put on great matches with Gunther and many, many others. Jordan Devlin, all those guys. So I think that's where they're heading here. I think they're going to put him over and they're going to start his ascension onto the main roster in the next few months. Dijak, similarly, he's been on the roster for a long time. He's done a lot. He had his cup of coffee in the big time on the main roster, but he got stuck with a stupid gimmick, right? He got stuck with that stupid, I can't even remember the name of that group, that Anarchy.
Balls, I think. Retribution.
Yeah. T-Bar Tarded or whatever it was. T-Bar Tarded. So he's got a lot of catching up to do here, right? His career was sidelined a little bit with that T-Bar gimmick. So I think he's going to put over Ilya Dragunov here. Dragunov's going to head up to the main roster in the next few months. I'd say probably towards the end of the summer, maybe to kick off fall. And I think potentially Dragunov will be next in line to wrestle for the NXT World Championship and probably put over whoever the champion is on his way out. So I do like Dragunov in this match, getting the win in last man standing.
Yeah, I'm actually in full agreement with you there. I'm happy that Dijak is being allowed to go out there and be himself, and he's been putting on some really good matches ever since he came back to NXT. Probably one of the best things about the show is Dijak. His match with Wes Lee back at NXT Vengeance Day, easily probably the most underrated match in WWE all year, for at least in my perspective. That was an absolute fucking banger of a match. It seems as though he's kind of stuck in this role where he's putting other talent over. I guess we'll have to wait to see when he's actually going to get his flowers, hopefully in the form of the NXT North American Championship in due time. But yeah, Dragunov clearly is the right man to come out victorious here, specifically because Dragunov, he will be challenging for the NXT World Championship. But the question I have for you here is, yes, I can see him on the main roster. There was actually a report where they were thinking about putting him with Imperium, which I wouldn't mind, but he really doesn't need to be put in Imperium. He's good enough to be on his own. But at this point in time, who exactly is the individual to take the title off of Carmelo Hayes? Because I guess I pretty much spoiled my prediction for that match, but I'll say it anyway. I don't see Carmelo Hayes losing that championship right now. I think that Shawn Michaels is really going to give Carmelo Hayes a solid reign as the NXT champion, probably going into the fall, and he'll probably lose it somewhere around maybe November or December, and then he'll probably make an appearance in the Rumble, and then that will be his start to getting on the main roster full time. There's really no rush with him. He's only like 24, 25, extremely fucking young. So in my eyes, Ilya Dragunov, to me, would have probably been the best individual to take the championship off of Carmelo Hayes. And Dragunov really isn't all that old either. I don't think he's not even 30 yet. Dragunov isn't even 30 yet. So Dragunov has plenty of time in his own right. But if you're putting it out there that Dragunov is going to be on the main roster within the next 3-4 months, okay. But who can you see taking the championship off of Carmelo Hayes, unless you think he's going to lose it on Sunday?
No, he's definitely not losing it on Sunday, man. Again, Braun Breaker will probably make it to the main roster before Carmelo Hayes does. Breaker is getting the normal NXT type of old school push, right? If you look back at the original NXT when they started on the WWE network, there was this formula that they had where every single wrestler would work babyface and heel before they would move out or out, right? They would both get a run for the most part, right? All the main stars. So Braun Breaker's getting his heel run now. They're trying him out as a heel. They're seeing how it gets over, how it works. And I think, his next step will be to the main roster, but I don't see there being any real rush. I think Breaker as a heel can work himself down the card a little bit after Carmelo Hayes beats him. So, I think Carmelo Hayes retains clearly, and he probably has a long, fruitful run. Like you said, young, bro, young. And the future is going to be on this guy's back. If you look at the main roster in WWE, specifically Monday Night Raw, you look at guys like Solo Sikoa, look at guys like Gunther, you're going to need a lot of young, hungry talent to work with these guys in the future. So I do see Carmelo Hayes getting up there and being one of those, probably, I would say, major players to have great matches with guys like Solo and Gunther in the future. I'm talking next year, probably.
Yeah, and I guess we've pretty much also spoiled both of our predictions for the NXT Championship match. But clearly, Carmelo Hayes is the right guy to come out victorious. I'm actually surprised that they did not put out a stipulation for that match, although they could probably still do that tonight, because I actually got NXT in the background right over here. I've been keeping up to date on it, and I'm trying to watch it and do this fucking stream at the same time. So I guess I'm breaking the fourth wall there a little bit. But as far as Carmelo Hayes goes, yeah, clearly there's no rush. I can see him going to SmackDown and starting off hot in that United States title picture, because right now, probably the most intriguing thing about SmackDown, and they haven't really dabbled into that yet, is the United States Championship title picture. You got Austin Theory, you got Sheamus, you got Butch, you got Boogs, you got Cameron Grimes, you got LA Knight, you got Grayson Waller, you got plenty of people in there that you can throw in and give us a meaningful feud with a lot of substance that could last a couple months. I still do believe that LA Knight is the right man to take the championship off of Austin Theory, but I do believe Cameron Grimes will one day get that championship, and Cameron Grimes and Carmelo Hayes will be a U.S. title feud, probably in mid to late next year. But clearly, Carmelo Hayes is not going to be losing the championship. Carmelo Hayes is going to be beating Braun Breaker. So if it's not Ilya, who can you see beating Hayes?
At this point, it's tough to say, right? Because I'm assuming he's going to hold that belt for a long time. I think it's important to give him a long, fruitful run with the
October,
belt.
November, probably.
Yeah, that's fair. But at this point in time, I don't know, dude. I can't really choose anybody off that roster the way it currently stands. That's tough to say. Maybe at that point in time, Wesley's ready to climb up towards that echelon of the card. I don't know, man. It's tough to say for me at this point who will challenge and eventually take the belt off of him. Again, I don't think it's going to be Braun Breaker. We'll probably see something with Trick Williams happen where Trick turns on Carmelo. That might be an angle where they have like a real blood feud there for the belt, I don't know, man. That's a very tough question. I really don't have a prediction on who takes the belt off of Carmelo Hayes eventually. I just don't.
I don't mind if they do Wesley. I think that would be a very, very, very good choice, seeing as Wesley he's really come into his own as a single star, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. I can't see Trick Williams doing it. Trick Williams, here's the thing. He's gotten a lot better, but I can't really see him being anything more than a background player for Carmelo. If he is to become a bigger star, I can see him and Carmelo potentially challenging for the tag team championships if they want to go down that route, because Trick Williams, I'd say he's okay. Still a little green. He's not bad in the ring. He can move around smoothly, but he's just not all that exciting. Not like Carmelo. Carmelo is clearly the star of that duo, but we will see how that plays out. But both of our predictions across the board, Ilya Dragunov for the last man standing match, and Carmelo Hayes for the NXT Championship match. Let's talk about the NXT Tag Team Championships. And I really don't know what they're going to be doing with the NXT Tag Team Championships, at least with the division. They got the titles on the right people. Gallus was clearly the right team to hold it because at the end of the day, Gallus is the type of team where they're just going to go in there. They're just going to beat the shit out of everyone exactly how you want to see it. And I was actually advocating for them to win the titles back at Vengeance Day. I'm actually shocked that they pulled the trigger that early. I thought they were going to extend the New Day's title reign all the way out to Stand and Deliver, but they didn't do that. Gallus, they are the right team to hold it. They're going up against the Creed brothers. According to the reports as of right now, I'm not sure if they're going to add any more teams, but as far as right now, it is Gallus versus the Creed brothers. At this rate, the Creed brothers, I'm actually shocked that they didn't get called up. I'm very shocked that they didn't get called up. I understand Pretty Deadly that absolutely they were bound to get called up, but the Creed brothers, not really sure why they're staying down there in NXT. And my only guess is because they really have not put a focal point, a big time focus, on tag team wrestling in NXT. The division, they got some tag teams, but it's really on the lackluster side. You kind of have Gallus up there just on top of the mountain unto themselves, and there's really no one there that's going to stand up to him except for Tony D'Angelo and Stax. Those two are probably the team that I see beating them. Clearly, they're giving Gallus a run with it. I do not see Gallus losing the championships to the Creed brothers. It is not the Creed brothers' time anymore. They had their chance. They took the titles off the Creed brothers. They did it way too soon, I will say that. But at the end of the day, Creed brothers right now, they're kind of stuck in a stationary position. Gallus is the right team to hold those championships. And whenever the next NXT pay-per-view comes around, probably, I don't know, maybe in July, maybe in August, because if there's a big pay-per-view like a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or a Night of Champions, we're bound to get an NXT Premium Live event as well. So we'll probably see something like that towards the end of July, maybe the beginning of August as well. And we will get an NXT Premium Live event. And that is when Tony D'Angelo and good old Stax are going to beat the Gallus boys. That seems like the best possible outcome. But I'm going to hand it over to you, Jay Alletto. The floor is yours. Tag team championships, Gallus and the Creeds.
Yeah, I like everything you said, honestly, man. I don't have too much pushback on anything. I think Gallus is the type of tag team that Triple H clearly has been behind since NXT UK. They're big, they're rough, they're rugged. These are the kind of guys that have that international vibe too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where are they from? Are they from Ireland or Scotland? Scotland. Yeah, there we go. Scotland. So there you go. There's an international vibe there. WWE is getting more and more international as we move forward. And I think that gives them a leg up on the competition. They are great. They're a fantastic tag team, and the Creed brothers are good too. And I'm saying the Creed brothers are good because they're a little bit vanilla, right? They're not exactly at the point where they should be getting the tag titles right now. They will have a bright future. I think both tag teams have a bright future, but I do see Gallus actually having a long solidified run here in NXT to continue the momentum they had in NXT UK. And this is the time where WWE wants them to get the focal point and have the focus on them. So I do see them winning. Who's going to take the belts off them? Again, I don't know, but your prediction seems right on point with me. Tony D'Angelo is the type of guy who hasn't held a title yet. I don't believe in NXT, and eventually it's going to happen. And now that he's a babyface in this tag team, I think it's going to be the right time to do it. Eventually knocking off Gallus. That's a good feud. It's a solid angle if they play it right. So I literally agree with and like everything you said pertaining to the NXT Tag Team Championships. The NXT Tag Team titles have been a major focus of that brand for a long time, man. I look back at that feud between the Revival and DIY and those type of matches. They were awesome. They were epic. And I think
one of the greatest tag team matches of all time.
Yeah, absolutely up there. And this is a step to get back to that level. You need to solidify tag teams. You need to keep these feuds going. So potentially this is the first of a couple matches between Gallus and the Creeds. We'll have to see, but I do have Gallus winning this one.
I really do hope so, man, because they got a couple of decent tag teams down there. It's just no one outside of Gallus and then probably Tony and Stax, and they're probably the biggest babyface tag team in NXT, which is really not saying much. Those two are the only ones that are really established, so to speak. Everyone else, listen, Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler, grizzled young veterans. I wish that they would come back. They're fantastic. I'm actually a little disgusted that they never got a proper NXT championship title reign. And then we got Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. They could be a decent little underdog babyface tag team down there, but they really haven't been showcased all that much. You got the Creeds down there. Who else you got? I don't even fucking know. I really have to keep track. But at the end of the day, it really is one of the weakest points in NXT, and I really do hope that they get themselves back on track. But it's Gallus across the board. Gallus boys will remain on top. Noam Dar. Noam Dar, who pretty much just showed up in NXT. It's going to take a little bit of time for everyone to warm up to Noam Dar. He was all right in NXT UK, and he was actually putting on some really good fucking matches. Now, I personally can't really stand the British rounds matches, but at the end of the day, certain superstars made them work. Noam Dar made them work, and A-Kid, when Axiom was A-Kid, he made him work. Tyler Bate made him work. Well, we'll see what happens here, but I mean, you got Dragon Lee in there with Noam Dar. I can't really sit here and say, oh yeah, this is going to be a shit match. I'd like to hope that they do make it a little bit more interesting. They make it a little bit more interesting. It's definitely going to be something new for the American audience. I don't think that there's been a British rounds match in America, at least in this recent run with NXT. So I'd like to hope that they do something that is going to, wow the audience a little bit. This is for the NXT Heritage Cup. There is no reason why Noam Dar needs to win this. No reason why Noam Dar needs to win this. Dragon Lee right now is the new guy in town. He's the guy that they should be putting a focal point on, making him look strong. And really, unless Dragon Lee is the guy that they're going to build up to beat Carmelo Hayes or potentially beat Wes Lee for the North American title, there's no reason why Dragon Lee should lose this. There's really no reason why Dragon Lee should lose this. Dragon Lee has actually been on the receiving end of a lot of losses as of lately. He lost to Jordan Devlin. He lost a fatal four-way match to crown a number one contender for Carmelo Hayes at Spring Breakin'. He lost the NXT North American title fatal five-way at Stand and Deliver. There's really no reason why Dragon Lee needs to take another loss, especially to a guy like Noam Dar, who clearly it's not his time right now. There's a lot of people in NXT, including Dragon Lee, who are ahead of Noam Dar. So there's really no reason to put him in the prime spotlight right now. It's going to take some time for everyone to get used to him. There's no reason why Dragon Lee should lose this. Dragon Lee should absolutely win the NXT Heritage Cup. I really do hope that they get a little creative and give us something nice with the British round stipulation. We will see what happens, but Dragon Lee clearly is the right individual to win this match. Mr. Alletto, what say you?
I agree with you there too. I think Dragon Lee wins, but I really like Noam Dar, dude, and it goes back to his time on the main roster. Yeah, it goes back to the time on the main roster when he, Alicia Fox and all that stuff. He was entertaining when he was on 205 Live back in the day, and I think he's got a short window in NXT before he gets back to the main roster. The guy's entertaining. He's a really good wrestler. I think Dragon Lee needs this win. I think this is a way to get that British round style over to William Regal's son, Charlie Dempsey. I think that's where Charlie Dempsey eventually challenges Dragon Lee. I think that'll be a great feud. But this is a way to just shake things up a little bit, right? Dragon Lee is an international superstar. He got signed with a lot of fanfare. A lot of wrestling fans were excited about this. And as you said, he's been putting on great matches, but hasn't really gotten any wins under his belt. This is going to be a big win for him. It's going to be a different style of match, but with his lucha libre style, his hard hitting kind of like action packed style, I think it's perfect to counteract Noam Dar. I think he gets the W, and then I think he moves on to Charlie Dempsey. I think this is where that Heritage Cup ends up landing. This is kind of a William Regal concept from the old days of British wrestling and stuff. So I do believe it heads that way, and Dragon Lee gets a first big win on an NXT pay-per-view type event. Would it be his first big win on an NXT pay-per-view?
His first big win on a pay-per-view, yes.
Yeah, there you go. So I think it happens. Yeah, absolutely. It happens this weekend.
And, you did mention something, Charlie Dempsey. I didn't really think of that, but it would make sense for Charlie Dempsey to win something like that. Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak are actually another tag team, so you can throw them in the pot as well. But where can you see that happening? I would actually give Dragon Lee a little bit of time with it. Probably give him to at least October, maybe. Just a little.
Sure,
bit.
Yeah, I think he'll be a fighting champion, right? I think this will be the introduction of this style match to the NXT audience, and I think we'll see this kind of match on NXT television in the near future. We'll see him defend this cup in a variety of different matches. And as you mentioned, Drew Gulak's involved. Maybe he's successful over Drew Gulak, which leads to a match with Charlie Dempsey, something along those lines, right? So again, Dragon Lee's phenomenal, fantastic, and this is the type of match that shows a different side of him. He's going to have to be creative. They're going to have to really get creative with this, and I think they will. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, well, one thing that I really do hope for is we're giving them all these fucking great ideas, but the question is, will they follow up with it on Tuesday night? That remains to be seen. And knowing Shawn Michaels has pretty much become Bruce Pritchard light down there, I'm not sure, but I really, really do hope that they do follow up on it and they follow up on it correctly, because Dragon Lee with this Heritage Cup championship could actually work in a variety of ways, and it could work in a sense that you could get him over and that championship over as well. If you just let him go out there and just do what he does, because he's way too good to be suppressed and he's way too good to just be taking L's. Let's move on to the women's championship match. Recently on NXT television, Lyra Valkyria recently advanced over Cora Jade, right outcome, and we will have our main event tonight. It's probably going to go down as we are talking about Night of Champions, because we're coming to the end of NXT BattleGround right here. It's either going to be Roxanne Perez or Tiffany Stratton. We may as well just get to this now, even if we do end up being wrong in about an hour. But I got Tiffany Stratton not just winning tonight, but winning the whole damn thing. I'm not sure why they didn't put the championship on her at NXT Stand and Deliver and having Indy Hartwell win it, just to have her get injured for no reason and then have her get called up. That shit right there was just mind-numbingly retarded to me. And no disrespect to Indy. I think that she's gotten a lot better from where she once was 3 years ago. But at the end of the day, does she really speak to you or anyone as championship material, at least right now? I can't see it. I really can't see it. She's not bad. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Don't think that I'm just trying to rip her a new asshole. She's not bad. It's just that there's a lot of people who are ahead of her. There's a lot of professional wrestlers in this industry who are good, and hell, they're even great. But there's just a lot of people who are ahead of them. Scorpio Sky's another one. He's very good. There's just a lot of people who are ahead of him. Numerous amounts of people in AEW. Lance Archer, he's awesome. There's just a lot of people who are ahead of him. And there's a lot of people that others want to see. Preston Vance is another one on AEW television. He's solid. He can wrestle. He can give you a decent match. But there's just people who are ahead of him. Indy Hartwell falls into that category. But as far as right now goes, this whole debacle with the NXT Women's Championship, if anything, they should have never taken it off of Roxanne. But this whole debacle, I'd like to hope that now we will get some solid direction with it, and we will get Tiffany Stratton winning the NXT Women's Championship. If it's not going to be Tiffany and Roxanne in the finals like we all predicted, then you know what? I'm happy that Lyra Valkyria is getting this opportunity, because I watched NXT UK religiously, and I know how good Lyra Valkyria really is, especially in her match against Meiko Satomura a couple years back. That was a great fucking match on NXT UK TV. Awesome, awesome, awesome fucking stuff. So we already know that she can wrestle. This is going to be a very nice rub for Lyra Valkyria, and I really like to hope that a lot of people are going to see just how good she really is. Tiffany Stratton, easily one of the most impressive individuals in the women's division, leaps and bounds. Don't know why she hasn't won the championship yet, but I do believe that on Sunday at NXT Battleground in Massachusetts, we will indeed get the Tiffany Stratton victory. It's her time to get that championship. She's going to have a solid run with it. And when she comes back, I like to hope that she's going to come back stronger than ever. I do believe that Nikita Lyons is inevitably coming back, and we will get the Nikita Lyons versus Tiffany Stratton feud. And that right there, those two women, that's going to be a very symbolic match, almost symbolic in a manner that Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker was. It's going to be a passing of the torch moment where Tiffany Stratton, after she has the reign that we know that she can have, she's going to drop it to Nikita, who I hope will be ready at that time. She was starting to get on a really nice path, a really nice string of victories, and a really nice string of good matches, especially with the ongoing feud with Zoe Stark before she got hurt. But I hope that Nikita Lyons is going to be ready by then, and she's going to take it off of Tiffany Stratton in due time. Tiffany Stratton, listen, I think it's cringe, but it is going to be Tiffy time on Sunday evening. Mr. Alletto, let me hear you.
There's a lot to unpack here. All right. So I'm going to start with Indy Hartwell, and I'm going to just touch on this briefly because you had a lot to say about her. Now, I'm going to make this point, and I've made this point to you in the past. There is something about a wrestler who is just a really, really good employee that is very reasonable with management, that'll do anything they're asked to do. When you're behind the scenes as a member of a roster, right? The way you conduct yourself and your attitude goes a long way. And from all indications, Indy Hartwell is a very sweet person. She's very good at her job. Like you said, she's not the greatest professional wrestler on the planet, right? But she has a character. She's been entertaining. She's done a lot of stuff outside of the actual bell to bell that has put on entertaining content for NXT. So this ladder match win was a ladder match win for a reason. There's a reason she didn't win the belt by pinning somebody 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. It was a ladder match win. It was kind of like when Zack Ryder won the IC title at WrestleMania, right?
They could have
That
done
was
something
his.
like that too, and they never did.
Right, right. Well, this is my point, right? A ladder match is a gift sometimes. A multi-person ladder match is a gift to a wrestler to say thank you for all that you've accomplished, all that you've done. So I understand why they gave her the belt, and I understand why she made her ascension to the main roster pretty quickly thereafter. I know she's injured now. That was an unfortunate injury. That didn't have to happen. That match was crazy. That triple threat match with Roxanne and Tiffy. Anyway, I love Tiffy time. I don't think it's cringe at all. I don't think that's
Listen,
cringe.
the phrase is cringe. Otherwise, Tiffany Stratton's amazing.
It goes right along with her. That's the thing. Like, it fits perfectly with her character. If her character wasn't what it is, it wouldn't. It just wouldn't work. It just fits perfectly with her, right? And
Yeah.
she again is very, very good. But she's green, right? She is pretty green still. Very good, very athletic, gorgeous. Remember, I think she was just out with an injury too, and she got a couple of enhancements done, and then she came back. So she's ready to rock and roll. She's ready to kind of get those big matches in. Very good. But we saw how quickly that triple threat match fell apart. The one where Indy Hartwell got hurt and ran out at the end to get the win real quick. That match fell apart. And it fell apart because both her, Tiffany Stratton, and Roxanne Perez were in a situation where things went awry and they didn't really know how to handle it. Specifically Stratton, right?
That's a different type of scenario. I wouldn't really place the blame completely on them because that's the first time that they had to deal with something like that. That injury was not planned.
It was a freak accident. I know. I'm not putting blame on them. I'm not putting blame at all. But I'm saying from watching wrestling religiously my entire life and seeing how quickly something can fall apart, we saw that. And we saw them actually figure it out and get to the finish. Anyway, regardless of what I just said there, Tiffany, I love your fantasy booking. I think your fantasy booking is always super intuitive and phenomenal with Nikita Lyons return and all that. That's great. Tiffany Stratton's ready, right? They're ready to market her as a big main star. They want her on posters. They want her with that belt. They really do. There's no doubt she's winning the belt. No doubt. I thought if Cora Jade won tonight, I thought maybe if Cora Jade won, we were going to Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, right? I think that was where they were heading if Cora Jade won. Cora Jade didn't win. Now we're going with Valkyria and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton definitely pulls the win, and she should cheat to win. There should be some kind of shady finish where she cheats. And I think she's got a great title run ahead of her in NXT. She's going to be in a position to work with everybody in the roster. So I'm excited for her. I think she's going to do phenomenal as NXT Women's Champion.
Actually, two things. I was going to say one thing. Two things I will say. Well, actually, three things. Shout out to Wrestling with Savage, who is also in the chat. I will be seeing you on Thursday. That's number one. Number two, one thing is for sure, Lyra Valkyria and Tiffany Stratton, they're definitely going to give us the best possible women's wrestling match because they're both phenomenal at what they do. As far as, one last thing I'll say about Tiffy time. Listen, if she wasn't dating Ludwig Kaiser and if I walked home and she was waiting for me, it could be Tiffy time any day for me. But let's move on.
Will you stop? Come on, man.
Dude, I'm DJ Storms. This is what I do. Moving on. You didn't see anything. Moving on to Wesley versus Tyler Bate versus Joe Gacy, NXT North American Championship. This is probably the second match that I'm most looking forward to out of the entire card on NXT BattleGround. Here's what I will say. From a wrestling standpoint, you take a look at this and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? These three are going to absolutely kill it. The problem here, and the one part of this entire situation that's just sticking out like a sore thumb is Joe Gacy. If you look at Joe Gacy from a professional wrestling standpoint alone, Joe Gacy's a very good professional wrestler. I've seen him wrestle, and especially with what he did in that Iron Survivor Challenge back in December, we know he can wrestle. We know he can go. You give him the reins, let him go out there. He's going to put on a solid match, and I respect that. The problem is that this gimmick is the drizzling shits. The problem is that they got this smiley face, peace, world peace, four roots, one tree, hokey bullshit cult leader gimmick that is not connecting whatsoever. It's been shit in the bed for God knows how long. Listen, I understand that you're trying to experiment with Joe Gacy and give him something other than the fact that he's a good wrestler to connect with the audience. But you know what? Not everyone needs an over-the-top character. You don't need a crazy over-the-top character like that in order to be marketable. You can market a person based on what they do in between the ropes. Sometimes the story and the character that a person can be is told between both bells, bell to bell. So at the end of the day, Joe Gacy, listen, I appreciate the fact that they're trying to give him a character and a sense of direction, but it's absolute horseshit. It really is. So at the end of the day, if you take away the whole schism garbage, Joe Gacy's a very solid wrestler. We already know how good Tyler Bate and Wes Lee is, and you just let these guys go. They're going to give you a great match. They're going to give you an NXT TakeOver worthy match if you just let them go out there. I'm actually shocked that Tyler Bate was not called up, but I have a feeling that Tyler Bate is probably going to be a challenger for Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo Hayes, he's going to need some solid challengers. And considering that Carmelo Hayes, he did say in an interview that he wants to bring NXT Black and Gold matches back to NXT. Who better to do it with than a guy like Tyler Bate? So Tyler Bate would probably be a great opponent for Carmelo Hayes down the line, but I see Wes Lee winning this. They have invested heavy in Wes Lee, and Wes Lee, I'm beyond happy for Wes Lee that he has broken out of the MSK shell where we thought that he was never going to succeed outside of the MSK tag team after Nash Carter got unjustifiably fired, and he has superseded everyone's expectations. I think he is going to be the longest reigning North American champion ever. And if there is one guy to do it, I mean, it is Wes Lee. So props to Wes Lee. Very happy for Wes Lee. And if there's one thing that has been a consistently great thing throughout NXT, throughout the Unicorn Seaman era, and this combination of 2.0 and Black and Gold, or it's more 2.0 than Black and Gold, or whatever the fuck this era of NXT is, one thing that has been consistently great is the NXT North American Championship title scene. We have had nothing but bangers each and every single time that title is defended, at every single show, on every single pay-per-view that the title is defended on, and Wes Lee has taken that championship and made it something of substance. He may very well go down as the best NXT North American champion of all time with the run that he's been on. He's beaten Carmelo, he's beaten Tony D'Angelo, he's beaten Dijak, he's beaten Drew Gulak, he's beaten Von Wagner, he's beaten Axiom, Dragon Lee, Dragunov, and Jordan Devlin in a fatal five-way match, and I see him winning this match too. And if it's going to be a banger like we've been getting, now Wes Lee, man, if Wes Lee's booked this good in NXT, there's no reason why he shouldn't be booked this good when he gets to the main roster. So I'm looking forward to a great match, and I see Wes Lee retaining. Wes Lee's on the run of his life, and once again, I could not be any more happier for him. Jay Alletto, the final match of NXT BattleGround, and then we will get to Night of Champions.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement here. I think ultimately they're going to head towards a Wes Lee versus Tyler Bate one-on-one in the future. Probably maybe the next PLE or on NXT television as a main event. Either way, I think Joe Gacy is phenomenal. Like, he worked the local indie scene here for a while. I've known about Joe Gacy for a long time. He's very good, very talented professional wrestler, and he's shown that he's got the chops to have charisma on this run with NXT. The Schism is kind of a group that I'm kind of just down the middle on, right? I don't dislike it. I don't love it. I think there's
You can
potential
be
there.
honest. It's rhinoceros shit. You can,
No,
yeah.
no, no. I don't dislike. I really don't dislike it, to be honest. And most of it has to do with the name Schism, right? That kind of has a good meaning to me personally because I love that Tool album when I was a kid growing up. Like there's a Tool album named Schism, and either the album's named Schism or the song. Anyway, so that was kind of interesting to me when I heard that. It's a type of name of a stable that reaches out to me personally. But yeah, I think Joe Gacy's got a lot of potential. Everybody in this match has tons of potential, but I think Wesley wins it. I think we see some kind of rift here between Tyler Bate and Wesley that leads to their singles match. Perhaps Tyler Bate turns at the end of it and beats the crap out of Wesley, something along those lines. I don't know, but I think we're headed towards that singles. So give me Wesley. I think we're in agreement on all the winners here going up and down the card.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with Night of Champions. But
Yeah.
as far as this show goes, again, look, if they just let everyone go out there, beat themselves, and just kick ass like they normally do, we'll be in for a solid show. And I really hope that is what we will get. And shout out to Mitch Kovsky, by the way. I will be doing the rewind for NXT Battleground on June 1st, Thursday at 7:30. With Mitchell Sinkowski 1 day before the ISPW event in Butler, New Jersey at St. Anthony Church Gym. Once again, cheap plug for Tommy Fierro. You better start paying me. And let's get into the Night of Champions card as we have 7 matches over here. And by the way, we do not have all championships being defended because Austin Theory is defending his title on SmackDown. You didn't think I missed that, Vince. And then on top of that, Roman Reigns, he is reaching 1,000 days as champion, and he's not defending the championship at Night of Champions. Man, how pathetic is that? But Night of Champions, again, man, it's really just the same thing with WWE. They're just so fucking lazy. They're fucking lazy. They just threw shit together, and they're calling it a premium live event. Or a pay-per-view. No one fucking says premium live event. If they let these guys, again, it's the same thing with NXT. You let these guys go out there. You let these guys and gals just wrestle, and you give them ample amount of time. You give us the right outcomes. At the end of the day, we'll get a solid 3 hours, a solid 3.5 hours of professional wrestling. That's what we got at Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel wasn't perfect, but in the end, from top to bottom, we got a very, very, very good pay-per-view, headlined by a phenomenal main event with Roman Reigns and Logan Paul, like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream. It's just so fucking hard, man. It really is to sit through these weekly shows and, have faith that they're going to put on a good... No, they probably will, because every single premium live event that they've had in the last year, minus the Royal Rumble, that pay-per-view was absolutely horrible. Minus the Rumble, every single pay-per-view in the last year, dating back to Money in the Bank last year, every pay-per-view that they put on has been a very, very good pay-per-view. At least a solid 7 or 7.5 out of 10 every single show minus the Rumble. So based on that, by default, this could end up being a good wrestling show. It just depends on who comes out victorious. And I don't think that they're going to make the right outcome with certain matches, but we will talk about them. Let me hand it over to you for this first match. Let's talk about Bianca Belair and Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, contested between 2 SmackDown superstars, might I add.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do to fix this kind of scenario they have with the women's titles. I'm sure they'll get through this event, Night of Champions, and then we'll probably figure this out post Night of Champions, right? This is one of those Saudi Arabia shows, part of the 10-year partnership that WWE has with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So you kind of have to take your wrestling logic and kind of throw it out the window a little bit for these shows, although they did stack it up with a lot of big matches.
With the Saudi show, listen, I don't care if they do the Saudi partnership. Just give me a good show.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. I think Bianca Belair retains. I don't think they're going to take a belt off her anytime soon. I don't think they're going to change the title here. Bianca Belair does retain over Asuka. Just slap together, right? They both moved over to SmackDown, so you're introducing them to the SmackDown audience, so to speak, although it's the same exact audience. It's one of those things, right, where they had to put a show together in Saudi Arabia, and they just had to throw some matches together. They went heavy on the women involvement this time. There's 3 women's matches. That's a huge part of them kind of switching the mindset in Saudi Arabia, where women normally don't compete in athletics over there at all. So it's a complete change of events for the entire culture out there. They've been slowly introducing the women's matches over the past few years. So we'll see Bianca Belair pick up this win over Asuka, I would think.
I am inclined to agree with you there, Mr. Alletto, because I've been pitching for Asuka mainly because of the fact that, look, Bianca Belair, she's great at what she does. She's had great matches, but her Raw Women's title reign has just been very, very stale. It's like 3-month-old rye bread. It's just not good. There's fucking mold on it and shit. You let it sit for too long. Don't get me, she's a great wrestler, but the babyface run just isn't working. And it's not because she's a bad babyface. It's just because they have not given her enough top-tier heels and enough meaningful feuds to work with. The most meaningful feud that she had, and it was a terribly built feud, was probably the feud with Becky Lynch. Even the feud with Damage Control wasn't all that special, and that's not because those women are terrible wrestlers. It's because they booked Damage Control like a fucking jobber faction. They were essentially the women's version of the League of Nations. Remember the League of Nations were just put together just to get Roman Reigns over. It's the same thing with Damage Control. Just a group fed to Bianca to get her to WrestleMania season to have her fight Asuka at WrestleMania 39. In a match where Asuka should have won. Asuka should have won, and they didn't do it. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I've been saying for the last couple weeks. If Asuka don't win, this is a fucking waste of time. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, I have to agree with you because they got this Bianca fetish where they got their hands shoved how many feet up her ass. So at the end of the day, don't give me the finger. Don't give me that finger.
Be nice, bro. Be nice.
My fucking show. I'm not nice. When the show is bad, I am not nice. When the show's good, I'm your best friend. But let's get back to Bianca and Asuka here for a little bit. You get me to fucking break over here, Jay. Get back to Bianca and Asuka.
Bro, here's the thing. Let me just say this, man, because we're in a predicament with these women's championships, and I made this pitch, I think, a couple of weeks ago on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, that I think what they're going to ultimately do is probably at SummerSlam, you're going to have Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, and you're going to combine these titles, and then you're going to introduce maybe a WWE Women's World Championship for the other show, the same way they just did with the men's, and you're going to combine these two into one belt. And I think Rhea Ripley's going to get it. I think Rhea Ripley's going to hold this legacy WWE Women's Championship, whatever you want to call it, and they're going to debut a new belt, a big gold belt for the women as well. Again, you got to remember, this is marketing. This is a way to sell more titles. Perhaps they put a spin on it for the women, make it white or something like that, to kind of give it a different flair. So I do think, we're heading in that direction. So that's why I don't think Bianca Belair is going to lose, because ultimately you're heading towards a clash between these two women's champions. And I believe that'll probably be one of the big matches at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the exact same thing, and I was actually going to get to that. But again, I'll wrap it up. Like I said, Asuka loses here, waste of time. Asuka is pretty much dead in the water. I really don't know why she even bothered staying with this company. But yeah, Bianca's going to win. Just let them do what they normally do, and we're probably going to get the women's championship match between Bianca and Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. I just really fucking hate the fact that two things. Asuka, again, is going to be buried, and two, the fact that they're waiting 3 fucking months before giving us a solid explanation as to what they're going to do with these championships, as if we're not seeing the fact that Rhea Ripley's got a blue title on a red brand, and Bianca Belair's got a red title on a blue brand. We ain't fucking colorblind. But at the end of the day, they really don't need to do a combination of belts. They just need, you can keep the 2 singles belts. Here's the thing. I have advocated for, if you want to do the brand split being eradicated, which really should be, but the fucking networks are being stubborn assholes. What we really need is we need 1 world title, 1 tag team title, and you can keep the 2 women's titles and just have everyone on both brands. It's quite simple. We don't need to combine both titles just to introduce another title. You got the 2 singles women's world championships. Just end the brand split and have everyone appear on both brands. But, WWE doesn't have the balls to stand up to Fox and USA Network.
They're
That's
in an
that.
expansion. They're expanding. The company's in an expansion. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're creating new titles and they're changing up things, and they're going to have separate brands and separate rosters. The company is actually in an expansion period. It's not getting tighter, it's getting bigger. It's a huge company now. It was valued at 9.3 billion. Now combined with the UFC, with TKO Holdings, which is debuting soon, you're talking about a $23 billion company. So the worldwide expansion, it's only going to get bigger, bro. You don't like it now, man, just wait until they introduce all kinds of different belts and stuff. It's going to be crazy what you're going to see in the future.
I know, I'll probably be ramming my head through a fucking brick wall.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm inclined to agree with the sly motherfucker in the Ring of Honor hoodie over there. I'm going with Bianca Belair to retain as well. Gunther, who I actually don't even mind the name anymore. I think that he's made it work with the way that he pronounces it. Gunther versus Mustafa Ali, Intercontinental Championship. Here's what I will say. I've been a Mustafa Ali advocate ever since that 2 out of 3 falls match with Drew Gulak on 205 Live 6 years ago. Ali made me a believer. I love Ali, and he deserves a hell of a lot better. I am happy that he's getting an opportunity, but this is just the Saudi Arabian agenda being pushed, and Ali is merely getting this opportunity because he's Muslim. He's Muslim, and they're going to a Muslim country, plain and simple. Now, if Ali was actually booked well for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, maybe I'd be singing a different tune. But at the end of the day, Gunther clearly is not going to be losing the Intercontinental Championship. One thing, though, I will bring to the table is Boozer Rasling, who is the insider on Twitter. I don't know who the fuck is behind this. I don't know how he has these fucking eagle eyes inside of WWE's boardroom when they're doing these creative meetings, but he's been very credible as of lately. And Boozer Rasling stated that we could get a surprise championship title change. I mean, if there's any title that would be the most surprising title change, it would probably be Mustafa Ali beating Gunther, but I truthfully don't see that happening. I don't think any title except for the World Heavyweight title between Rollins and AJ, I don't see any title except that title changing hands, and we will not hear end new for any other title other than that title. But as far as this goes, Gunther is clearly going to be the man to beat the Honky Tonk Man's record. He is going to hold that into September, which is when he will beat it. And if I'm not mistaken, if we're going to talk about who's going to take it off of him, they are thinking, the last time I heard, that they want to do an international event in Melbourne, Australia, sometime in September, similar to what they did with Cardiff, Wales for Clash at the Castle. Now, if they're doing Melbourne, Australia, and it's somewhere in the middle of September after Gunther beats the Honky Tonk Man's record, it would only make sense for the big boy Bronson Reed, who is an Aussie, to have a match with Gunther on that show, and Bronson Reed is going to be the guy that is going to beat Gunther. And one thing that I really do hope for, clearly Vince is in charge. Triple H does not have much power at all, and he's slowly losing power, or rapidly losing power, I should say. One thing I do hope that Triple H has control over is the mid-card divisions, because by September, October, it is very vital that we get some new, fresh faces as champions, and I really do hope that by the beginning of the fall season, we will see LA Knight as the United States champion, because Austin Theory, he's had a solid run. He'll probably lose that at SummerSlam to LA Knight. And Gunther loses the IC title to Bronson Reed. Those two would be great in-ring leaders and great characters to lead the mid-card divisions going into the fall, winter, and the inevitable spring of next year as well. It just feels right. It seems like those two are the two that WWE is going to invest in heavily. Bronson Reed has been protected so far since coming up to the main roster. He's only been pinned twice, and he's been on the main roster since December. He's only been pinned twice. He's been pinned once in the Elimination Chamber match, and then pinned once in the U.S. title triple threat match at Backlash. So I'd like to hope that Bronson Reed is going to be in line for a push. He's the guy that I can see taking down Gunther. I think Gunther's going to be in line for a big match at SummerSlam, though, against Matt Riddle. I do think Matt Riddle will inevitably do the job for Gunther, though. The biggest thing that I could hope for with this match at Night of Champions is that they make this match competitive, because Ali, he's way too good to just be wasted in a fucking Ricochet Brock Lesnar position like they did at Super Showdown all those many years ago. Well, actually 3 years ago. And on top of that, even in a loss, I genuinely fucking hope that Ali is going to be showcased a little bit more prominently, and we need to get rid of this fucking positivity character as well. Just let Ali be himself, be more creative, instead of this character. It's fucking stupid. But I am going to go with Gunther to retain the IC title over Ali. And yes, I know that's a lot to unpack, Mr. Alletto, but let me hear what you got.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet here, man. Gunther wins for sure. The guy is basically unstoppable on Raw right now as the IC champion. He will break the Honky Tonk Man's record. I agree with all of that. It's going to be a phenomenal match. You know, all you need to know about Mustafa Ali and what Vince McMahon thinks of him is Brock Lesnar last night on Raw. If you caught that, when he cut off his promo and he said, "Get a life, kid. Get a life." Dude, that's all you need to know. Brock Lesnar is now Vince McMahon's mouthpiece on the show. If Vince McMahon wasn't running the show, Brock Lesnar probably wouldn't even be involved at the moment. So Brock Lesnar saying that to Mustafa Ali is all you need to know about what WWE thinks of him, what Vince thinks of him. Great wrestler, not my words, just what I feel like is going to be out there. So Gunther wins. I do think there's a lot of potential challengers for him in the future, right? I did mention before Braun Breaker potentially going to the main roster. Maybe that guy is somebody to challenge Gunther in the future. There's a lot that we're going to see out of this guy, Gunther. There's rumors that he's going to be fighting Cody Rhodes next year at WrestleMania. That's like a early rumor. Like, I don't know where that came from, but hey,
that would be my match. Have Cody beat
dude.
Roman, and then have Cody and Gunther be the match. Simple.
Well, Cody ain't beating Roman, first of all, but I look back at he's not. I look back at Royal Rumble 1998, where Rock and Austin were the final two, and then the next year at WrestleMania, they were in the main event, right? This year at Royal Rumble, Cody and Gunther, final two. Perhaps they're going to have a major match at WrestleMania following the same pattern. So I do think there's loads of possibilities there with how to take the Gunther character. And I do think he wins at Night of Champions and his reign continues. So I don't know who's going to take the belt off him, though. Too early to really predict that.
Bronson Reed, man, I'm telling you, if they're doing the show in Melbourne, it's going to be Bronson Reed.
Maybe.
It's the same thing that they did. Same thing that they did with Sami Zayn, except the hometown boy will come out victorious this time.
Yeah, I want to let you know real quick on a sidebar, my headphones are probably going to die in a minute, but I'll still be here. Like, I'll just have to throw them out and just switch audio. So just want to let you know that.
Not a problem. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. The less I say about this shit, the better. This has been the absolute. Oh God, I don't even know. There are not even enough words in the English language to describe how terrible this has been. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I've been stating for weeks, ever since Trish Stratus turned heel. Unless Trish Stratus is going to be waiting for me in my bed when I get home, wearing nothing more than the fucking cowboy hat that she was wearing on Raw about a month ago, I don't give a shit about Trish Stratus. It's my fucking show. I can say whatever I want. I do not care. I thought you weren't woke, motherfucker.
I'm not, but I like Trish, man. She's a nice person, dude. I would never disrespect her like that. You son of a...
And I respect that. She could be a nice person all she wants. She's a very wink wink nice person. But at the end of the day, the character that she's playing, it's just not good. It's just not good television. And Becky Lynch, if anything, everything that they've done with Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, this has actually brought Becky Lynch down. This is actually making Becky Lynch feel 10 times worse than she really is. I don't know what the fuck is going on, dude, but They have just completely deteriorated Becky Lynch. I'm glad she's back to being a babyface because she was terrible as a heel. But if this is the best that you got for Becky Lynch, and you're literally struggling to find shit for her to do outside of the women's championship title scene, so much so you need to put her against Trish Stratus, who has had probably the worst luck on the microphone and is probably right now one of the worst promos in WWE outside of fucking Omos, and he barely even fucking cuts promos. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? And Trish Stratus really hasn't been lighting the world on fire in terms of her in-ring return either, especially after what we got in that, oh my God, that godforsaken women's tag team title match a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, where we saw Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez take the titles off of Becky Lynch and Lita, with Trish Stratus subbing in for Lita. There's one positive I will say about this. Someone backstage realized that everyone in the WWE audience, everyone was pretty much going to toss this shit to the side and discard it. No one gave a shit. No one cares. No one is investing in this unless we are getting what Trish Stratus did 20 years ago, where she was coming out in minimal clothing. No one cares. No one cares. We want something new. So instead of doing it at SummerSlam like it was rumored, thank God they're doing this at Night of Champions. They're getting this shit out of the way. There's no way that Trish Stratus is going to stick around long term. I can't see it. I just can't see it. They would be foolish to do that. Becky Lynch is winning this. No reason why Trish Stratus is going to come out victorious, and Becky Lynch will move on to something else. Probably she's going to be in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. It only makes sense. After that, I'm not sure what the fuck she does. If we don't get the unification match between Rhea and Bianca, I'm probably going to have to go with Becky Lynch to be Rhea Ripley's opponent at SummerSlam. That's probably the biggest match that they could do. Let me hear, Jay.
Yeah, so I think we're going to see Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch probably do something at Money in the Bank, I'm guessing. So Trish Stratus, you got to think of this in multiple ways, right? One big reason why she's around is because she needs a retirement plan, dude. She's on Canadian television doing Canada's Got Talent, like the offshoot of America's Got Talent. It's like a mainstream network show. So she's doing that at the moment. So she's in the mainstream in Canada. Not only that, but this is her one final run. And also the Saudi Arabia kind of thing, that needs those Attitude Era stars. You need somebody from that era, and this is her opportunity to get that paycheck. They get Brock every single time. They have Brock every single time.
What the fuck do they want?
Well, this is her opportunity to get that paycheck, right? She's going to get a nice fat Saudi Arabia paycheck. And also, I do think this might be a continuing angle. Like you said, it might be done, but where's Lita been, right? She got injured and she hasn't come back yet. Right. I do think there's a possibility that she comes back as a heel, also turns on Becky. And then we have heel Trish, heel Lita, and potentially culminates at SummerSlam in some way, shape, or form. And that's when they finish. I don't see this being the end of Trish Stratus's run. And I actually have Trish Stratus winning this match by some kind of heel tactic. I do think that they're going to continue the angle. And this is a part of a greater, kind of not like a short run, right? She's going to have a short run, WrestleMania to SummerSlam. I think that's what they agreed on. And I think that's what they're doing. And remember, you got to think expansion. WWE is expanding. So they need to bring in these like Attitude Era stars every once in a while to do this. And that's a part of it. Saudi Arabia wants it. The fans might not want it. The diehard fans might not want it, but it's a part of that Canadian mainstream thing. There's multiple moving parts here that as just wrestling fans, we don't think about too often. So give me Trish Stratus to win this. Heel tactics, get her over, and continues the angle. But I do think we'll see Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley probably at Money in the Bank in some way, shape, or form, since that's in the UK. So I think they might do something there. Maybe Becky wins a #1 contenders match or something like that.
If you want to do more Attitude Era stars, fine. But I mean, at least give us one that is actually good. I'm telling you, man, if this feud continues, I'm going to blame your ass. It's unbelievable.
You don't have to blame me, dude.
Cannot stand it. Vince, the fuck are you doing? You senile pedo-looking idiot.
Whoa. Wait a second. How dare
He
you?
does. He looks like a combination of fucking Freddie Mercury and a fucking man that wears a trench coat with nothing underneath.
He looks just like Walt Disney in the later years of Walt Disney. I think that's what he's shooting for. Walt Disney.
Yeah, but at least Walt Disney actually looked like a normal human being. Holy shit!
Yeah, but Walt Disney.
He looks
Walt
like the
Disney
Grim
was
Reaper, Vince McMahon.
Walt Disney was a total scumbag. He's one of the biggest scumbags of all time, and I think Vince understands that.
Yeah, probably. They go hand in hand. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of a scumbag move, Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Don't know what the fuck's going on here. I don't even know how much more I can rant and rave about this shit. Similar to Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, this has probably been the second worst thing on WWE television. Nothing makes sense. Absolutely fucking nothing makes sense. And I've stated this time and time again. At the end of the day, we needed Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns. That didn't happen because of Vince. That didn't happen because Vince McMahon, he just can never do the right thing willingly. His ego gets in the way of everything. And at the end of the day, he was never going to have a full-time AEW talent beat his greatest creation of the modern era, Triple H. You want to have Cody win the world title? Not on my watch, pal. It's exactly what he fucking said. So now we get this shit, and you're not going to be able to convince me of this shit. And I'm going to shout out someone here. I'm going to shout out Salamonster. I don't really watch him all too often, only because of the fact that I'm very, very picky with who I watch, and I'm very, very packed with my schedule as it is. So it's kind of hard to sneak in certain things here and there. But I will give him credit. He's very good from an analytical standpoint. But he gave a very good analysis of this when it first happened back on April 3rd, and we saw just Brock Lesnar just absolutely rip Cody Rhodes to shreds. He stated, didn't make sense, but if Cody was the world champion, then it would have made sense because Brock Lesnar couldn't challenge Roman Reigns because he lost at SummerSlam, and it was in the contract. Brock Lesnar lost. He can't challenge for the title so long as Roman Reigns is champion. So now, if Cody Rhodes had won the championship, Lesnar attacking Cody would have made sense, and Roman and Solo challenging for the tag team titles would have made more sense because KO and Sammy would have been, if they made the right decision at WrestleMania, it would have been a part of the reason why Roman Reigns wanted to go after KO and Sammy, and it wouldn't have just been revolving around the Usos. It would have been a scenario where we would have gotten legit reasons and logic as to why Brock Lesnar just decided to attack Cody Rhodes out of nowhere. But instead we got, look at this face. Look at this face. That's what we fucking got. I want to talk about me. Okay, can you talk about a fucking explanation? You fucking roid head? Holy shit. Telling you. I'm watching this, dude. I'm watching this. I'm like, what is this shit? What is this steaming pile of elephant shit? What is it? No sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. If Cody Rhodes does not win Money in the Bank and he does not beat Roman at SummerSlam, this shit is a complete waste of time. If Cody Rhodes is not the man to take down Roman Reigns, at least at some point, this shit is a waste of time. It took them a while because he was out for the majority of 2022, but it took them finally, after 1 year, WWE has officially fucked Cody Rhodes up. They fucked Cody Rhodes up. He is now less than what he was going into WrestleMania than he probably ever was. He was the hottest thing in professional wrestling all WrestleMania season. He doesn't feel the same at all. And neither does Roman Reigns. And I've used this analogy before, and I'm going to use it again because I don't think you've heard it. Roman Reigns' title reign is like this. Imagine it's a nice hot summer day, and you're thinking, you know what? It's not too hot, not too cold, 75 with a breeze. And you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I'm going to get myself a nice, solid piece of red meat for dinner. So you go to the supermarket and you go to the local butcher. You go to Frank the Butcher. Hey, Frank, what do you got for me? We got some New York strip steak. We got some filet mignon. We got some T-bone steak. You want a porterhouse? I got a porterhouse steak for you. Take your pick. So you pick out the right piece of meat. You go home. You season it with some paprika, garlic salt. You got to use garlic salt because regular salt sucks. Garlic salt is the way to go. Maybe if you want to, you marinate it, depending on what kind of meat it is. But you got to use the Sweet Baby Ray's marinade because Sweet Baby Ray's is the way to go. Then you put it on the grill. You put it on the grill. Now, my personal way to grill meat is medium. You got to do medium. 2 to 3 minutes each side. Medium is the way to go. Medium or medium rare is the way to go. Some people like it well done, so you do 5 minutes each side, fine. We'll go to well done for some people that are not like the rest. But instead of 5 minutes each side, you instead leave it on the grill for 15 minutes each side. And then you take it off, and it's fucking crusty on the outside. It fucking tastes like rubber. And you're thinking to yourself, what happened? What happened, motherfucker? You left it on the grill for too long. That's Roman Reigns' title reign. Roman Reigns' title reign is an overcooked steak. Could have been great if you took the titles off of him at the right time. WrestleMania was the right time, and they didn't fucking do it. Roman Reigns doesn't feel the same. Cody doesn't feel the same. I don't give a shit about this Cody Rhodes-Brock Lesnar feud. And to be quite honest with you, I have a bad fucking feeling that they're going to extend this shit out to SummerSlam. How they're going to do that, I don't know. Because here's the thing. If Brock Lesnar beats Cody Rhodes, which will probably happen because there's no way that Cody Rhodes is going to fucking beat Brock Lesnar with a broken arm. So at the end of the day, if Cody Rhodes loses, that's it for Brock Lesnar, right? He got what he wanted. He got his pound of flesh, right? What reason would he have to cost Cody Rhodes a Money in the Bank win if Cody Rhodes manages to make it into Money in the Bank? What reason would he have? Look at this face. There's no reason. There's no reason. No reason at all. I don't know who the fuck's going to come out victorious. For all we know, Cody Rhodes could win this. Because, again, Lesnar stood tall on the go-home show. And Wrestling 101, you stand tall on the go-home show, you're not going to win at the pay-per-view. I don't know. I guess I'll just go with Brock Lesnar because, again, I don't see how Cody Rhodes is going to win this shit with a broken arm. They didn't make it an ODQ match. So I don't understand how Cody's going to have any sort of advantage over Lesnar. He barely survived him the first time around. Yes, again, a lot to unpack. Alletto.
Yeah. First of all, I had to take out my headphones. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, cool. All right. So sorry about that. Normally my headphones are charged. Today they weren't. That's unprofessional on my part. My bad. All right. So there's, again, a lot to unpack, bro. I know you're passionate about this topic, bro, but Cody Rhodes had no chance of winning at WrestleMania. There was a 0% chance he was walking out of WrestleMania.
I should have realized it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was not going to happen. There was no way. Vince, Triple H, it didn't matter. He wasn't winning.
Triple H would have done it. Triple H would have absolutely done it.
Nope.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, dude. If Triple H was in charge, you would have done it.
No way. No way. And here's why, right? Here's why. Because what's next for Roman Reigns, right? What would have been next?
I have a simple answer.
Not what?
Feud with his own bloodline. That's it. There's only one thing left for Roman to do. There's nothing left for Roman to do now, dude. There's nothing left for him to do. Sit around and break Bruno's record by defending it against no one? There's no one left.
John Cena put it perfectly in a interview he did on Busted Open last week that Roman Reigns has put himself in a unique situation. He's put himself in the situation where WWE absolutely needs him. He's got the negotiating power, and he has a contract unlike any other wrestler in WWE history as champion, right? He has them legitimately by the balls, right? Because he worked himself a great deal. He wasn't even supposed to work this event.
WWE did that to him. The WWE worked Roman Reigns into a position where they need him because they didn't build up anyone else. Roman Reigns didn't make Roman Reigns. WWE was able to give Roman Reigns the green light with the tribal chief gimmick, and they put all their eggs in one basket without building up anyone else. That's the problem. So it's not Roman Reigns that made Roman Reigns that way.
Hold on. Sorry about that. I had a little malfunction there. All right.
No, it's fine.
let me put it this way. Sorry about that. Let me put it this way to you. Paul Heyman made it abundantly clear at the WrestleMania press conference. He said, "We're in the second inning. We're only getting started."
There's nothing left.
There's
It's
plenty
so
left.
stupid. Like, I love Heyman. Oh my god, what a stupid comment.
Dude, there are layers to this story that haven't even gotten close to being done yet. You know, there's different ways they're going to go. Roman Reigns isn't losing this undisputed WWE championship for a very long time. Okay, it's not going to happen. It's probably not going to even happen at WrestleMania 40. He'll probably keep it throughout then. Again, you got to remember, WWE is in this expansion phase. They're expanding. The company's getting bigger. They're growing. They need him at the top of the mountain. Cody Rhodes' story is going to be stretched out because he is the number one babyface on the entire show. He's the number one merchandise seller. And this story is not for you and me. It's not for us at all. This story is for the little kids. Cody Rhodes' story is for the little kids. He's getting this buildup to eventually win the belt. He's going to be WWE's Superman, and they don't need to rush it. That's why he's going through this Brock Lesnar.
It will backfire.
It's backfired for you, right? It
will backfire. It's already backfiring, dude. No one gives a shit.
Well,
the crowd is not reacting the same.
Again, to my point, right? WWE is expanding. They're crushing every single metric along the way. Every single measurable statistic that you can take a look at, WWE is hitting an absolute home run. So there's no reason to deviate from the long-term plan. I think Brock Lesnar wins this match. I think the feud with Cody continues. I think they're going to have some kind of big gimmick match, whether it's a Hell in a Cell or whether it's probably not last man standing, but it's going to be some kind of big gimmick blow-off match, probably at SummerSlam. I don't think Cody Rhodes wins Money in the Bank. I don't even think it's a thought process in their head that he wins Money in the Bank. I don't think that's in the cards for him at all. I don't think he's going to be the one to beat Roman Reigns next year. If he is eventually the guy to beat Roman Reigns, I think it's still going to be down the road a little bit longer. They're looking at Cody Rhodes' run as a 5-year plan, not a 2-3 year plan. It's a 5-year plan.
And it will not pay off in the way that they want it to. It won't. I see it in my crystal ball, dude. It will not pay off. You can tweet about metrics, you can talk about all this other shit, but at the end of the day, the show and the angle blows donkey dick. Donkey dick. And I'm going to tell you this right now, and there's no way that anyone can refute this. There is no fucking reason why you can't build up the metrics and give us a good show. There is no reason why you cannot build up the metrics and give us a quality show. Roman Reigns doesn't need to be the world champion in order for them to generate the high metrics. Roman Reigns would have generated high metrics because he's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is at Undertaker status right now. He's bigger than the world title. He's bigger than the fucking WWE at this rate. Cody Rhodes was the guy to win the title, and guess what, dude? The kids would have been just as happy. And by the way, do you honestly believe, if you honestly believe that this whole 5-year plan is going to work out, dude, I'm telling you, I love you, but it's not going to work out. It's not. The entire crowd is going to sour on. They're already souring on it, and it just doesn't feel the same.
You're putting too much into the live attendance crowd reaction, dude. You're putting way too much into that. You're putting so much into it. It's ridiculous. I stopped paying attention to the WWE live crowd reaction.
They fucking piping crowd noises. That's how little the crowd cares.
I took the WWE live crowd reaction. I put it into a big ball when I started covering wrestling like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And I threw it out the fucking window because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. What matters are the numbers. Not just that,
it's the fans on social media too. Everyone's saying it. Well, yeah, listen. I understand that there's a lot of fans that are just going to be sheep that are going to sit there with their fucking eyes crossed. Yeah, I understand that. But at the end of the day, that's not the fucking whole country when it comes to wrestling fans. There's a lot more smarter wrestling fans out there now than there ever was back then. I'm not a niche, dude. I'm telling you, I'm not a niche anymore. I was back then, not anymore.
Back when? When?
I was back then, probably in the days of the 80s. And then we started to evolve a little bit in the 90s. And then going into the early 2000s, shit really started to break out. I was probably a niche in the 80s. Not anymore, dude.
You gotta remember something, man. Like it takes these big wrestling stars sometimes 10, 15 years to win the big one, right? Like Stone Cold Steve Austin took him forever. Chris Benoit, all these guys, they took a long time, loads of time to get to that point.
Cody's on 18 years, dude.
But you're getting back to basics here with him, right? You brought him back from the rival promotion from AEW. He's the number one babyface. He got injured, right? He got injured. That derailed him more than anything could have ever derailed the guy. Was that injury?
Didn't he came back? He got the biggest fucking reaction at the Rumble besides Sammy.
It was never going to happen.
About?
It was never going to happen for him this year.
Yeah, it was never going to happen because of Vince. That is certain. That I'm not going to argue with.
It wasn't going to happen no matter what. There was no way he was going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
I'm telling you, dude, if it was Triple H, he would have done it. I would bet my fucking bank account on it.
It's irrelevant because it's already happened. There was no way. There's no way it's going to happen. It's probably not going to happen next year either. That's what I'm saying. Roman Reigns is going to. They are in the business now of recreating history. They've got a whole new company. Vince just sold the company. He sold it. It's under endeavor now. So they want to rebuild history and rewrite history. And I think, as Paul Heyman said, they're in the second inning with Roman Reigns' story with his title reign. Dude, I think we got a long ways to go. Roman Reigns has one of the greatest contracts in the history of the company. He barely has to work. And that's the leverage that he had to have this contract with them. So give me Brock Lesnar. I'm sure we're going to move on from this topic. Give me Brock Lesnar. Cody Rhodes isn't getting anywhere near the WWE the WWE Championship, the legacy one that Roman Reigns has for a long time. He might get that new gold belt, the new World Heavyweight title at some point. I don't think he gets near the WWE Championship anytime soon.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you on Brock Lesnar, but I'll give you one guess what's going to happen when Cody Rhodes does not beat Roman. What's going to happen? What am I going to do? I'm going to shit on it. That's what I'm going to do.
Go ahead, man. That's fine.
Fucking blows dick. Anyway, speaking of Roman Reigns and this title reign, which is being ruined right before our very eyes, which will not pay off in the long term, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa, and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Yes, I'm a petty bitch, I know. Let us dissect this. Probably the match with the most story going into it. Clear as day, this is setting up more inner turmoil in the bloodline. The main question is, how exactly is this going to end in terms of Roman Reigns? Who is he going to get pissed at? Because, again, there was a little shoulder bump with Solo last week on SmackDown that was quite telling, actually. That was actually quite telling. It's either going to pay off with the Usos inadvertently costing them with Solo taking the pin, or Solo takes the pin clean, and then maybe that's going to piss off Roman to a point where maybe Solo's going to be in the doghouse with his brothers. But I don't see that happening just yet, but sooner rather than later. See, this is why I'm kind of leaning towards Cody winning Money in the Bank and beating Roman at SummerSlam, because I feel as though Solo's looking to fucking Samoan Spike the shit out of Roman Reigns. It's coming. Solo Sikoa, when he fucking Samoan Spikes the shit out of Roman Reigns, crowd's gonna pop big, and it's really going to be a big moment for Solo, because they've been saving him for a match with Roman Reigns down the line, and this inner turmoil in the bloodline, I can't see this lasting a year. It's going to get stale by then. This is going to result in KO and Sami retaining, as it should, and Solo's going to end up taking the pin. But I do believe that the Usos are going to be the reason why the bloodline, a.k.a. Roman and Solo, why they end up losing this match. And the Usos are going to be in deeper shit than they already are in with Roman Reigns.
Are the Usos even going out there?
I believe they might. I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't. Because Roman's telling them to stay home. Roman's telling them to stay home. Do you think they're staying home?
Well, they have charges, right? Didn't the one dude get DUI and stuff? And
they were there at the last Saudi show.
Were they? Okay,
yeah,
so
they were there. The tag team titles against the Brawling Brutes.
They can't go to Canada, I guess, right?
No. They were in Canada. They were in Canada too.
Maybe they expired. They're okay. So let's just forget I said that, because I had it confused in my head with the laws there. Yeah. I think you're ultimately right. I think Roman's going to actually be the one that cost them the championship match somehow, inadvertently, somehow getting. This is going to be where Sami Zayn gets his kind of heat over Roman Reigns and potentially moves away from this story. Him and KO move away from this story after this show, potentially. I do think Roman somehow costs them. Solo takes the pin some way, shape, or form, but Roman is the reason why it happens. Maybe he whiffs a Superman punch and pops Solo with it or something along those lines. So I don't see Roman obviously getting pinned here. I don't see them winning the tag titles, Roman and Solo, right? I don't think that happens. So give me Sammy and KO, and with Solo taking the pin, but Roman causing that to happen. The Usos' involvement is interesting, right? Will they get involved or will they not? I was going into this under the assumption that they wouldn't be at the show. So I don't know. Potentially they will be at the show and be involved in the finish here. But ultimately, I think I'm with you on this one. Roman Reigns will somehow cost his team the victory. KO and Sammy go over. And then as we move forward into the next event and into SummerSlam, KO and Sammy move away from this bloodline angle into something else. So that's what
it's either the Judgment Day or Imperium that they're moving into at some point.
Yeah, agreed.
Rhea Ripley versus Natalya SmackDown Women's Championship. Who gives a fuck? There's only one.
Easy.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley retains. But there's only one reason why this match is taking place, because Rhea Ripley's clearly not losing that championship anytime soon. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna put people against her that are gonna take a loss, and no one's gonna give a shit. You're not gonna do Becky. Becky's in a feud with Trish. You're not gonna do Raquel. You're not gonna do Liv. She's injured. But at least give us someone new. Maybe a Tegan Nox or a Candice LeRae, someone along those lines. But it has to be Natalya.
Well, Natalya's the gatekeeper. She's the gatekeeper of the division, right? She's going to be there until she damn well pleases. She'll always have a spot until she decides to retire. I like Natty on a personal level. I think she's sweetheart, awesome. I've had a couple conversations with her. Really, really nice human being. Not a bad bone in her body. So again, she's an example of a fantastic employee. You can't anything you ask of her, she'll do. She's been through it all. She's been through the ringer. So I like Natty a lot, but obviously Rhea Ripley's going to win this, and this is just another notch on Rhea Ripley's belt. Successful title defense against the gatekeeper of the division, Natty Neidhart. So give me Rhea Ripley here.
Again, I'm going to say the same thing about Mustafa Ali. Maybe if Natalya was actually built up with an intriguing character and a decent win streak, maybe I'll be singing a different tune. But no, we gotta sit here with Rhea Ripley and.
She returned from injury. I think that's part of the reason why they pushed her to this big match right away, is because she just came back, right? And oftentimes when a veteran comes back, they go right for the top dog. Not only here, but also in UFC as well. They do the same thing. If like a veteran fighter comes back, like a Conor McGregor or something, they're going to go right for the top dog. So similarly in WWE, that same psychology works out here. So I think it's just gatekeeper versus the new champion, and put Rhea Ripley over. And also Natty, again, great employee. I don't have to say it any more than that. This is her another good job, Natty. That's all. It's another thumbs up for her.
I really wish that we would actually get more WWE than UFC when it comes to this company.
Oh, you're gonna get a lot more UFC. It's going to be one and the same soon, man.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gonna. You'd be lucky if I don't break this microphone. Thankfully, I got another one.
The UFC is awesome, dude. I love the UFC, bro.
What's on my television? NXT just ended. What is on my television?
Probably like Pleasure Island or some stupid.
No, The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man. Good movie, actually. I watched it. Good movie. That was from 2020, right before the pandemic hit.
There you go.
Fucking NXT ended. I'm watching The Invisible Man in the background. Awesome. What was I fucking saying? UFC's not my cup of tea.
Did Roxanne Perez win?
What?
Roxanne Perez? Did she
hold on. Let me see.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. Who the fuck won?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Tiffy won. Okay, Tiffy beat Roxanne.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
We were right. It's Tiffy time, baby.
It is.
Bring Tiffy time over here. Anyway, main event. UFC's not for me, like I said. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles World Heavyweight Championship. This should be the match to main event the show. It just makes sense. And in the end, I see Seth Rollins taking this. Completely illogical that we're even having a fucking SmackDown superstar compete for a Raw exclusive championship. And by the way, they're doing this because they're trying to counter the NBA playoffs, as if people are going to watch this illogical bullshit over NBA playoffs. I don't even like basketball that much, but at the end of the day, you really think people are going to choose this over NBA? No, absolutely not. But at the end of the day, Rollins is winning this. Let these two just do what they do. I think that they could outdo their match at Money in the Bank 2019 if you just give them the reins and let them go out there. That's what I see happening.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Seth Rollins has a lot coming in the future for him, right? I think he's possibly the guy to defeat Roman Reigns in the future. I really do. That's a very possible scenario in my mind. But yeah, Seth Rollins is going to pick up this win over AJ Styles. This is going to be a phenomenal match. It should be the main event, although I do feel like potentially Roman Reigns might be in the main event, the final match of the show with this tag team title thing, because I don't know, but I do personally believe that Seth and AJ should close the show. The World Heavyweight Championship should be the focal point. A part of me believes that one of the other two matches will, but I do think that this should be on top, and we'll see Seth Rollins with this new gold belt, and hopefully this is the beginning of a real fighting champion like Triple H put over, back like the way they used to do it in the old NWA when Ric Flair had the big gold belt. So I think this is going to be something that Triple H is going to really have a lot of involvement in, this championship and this kind of lineage, whereas Roman, he's kind of hands off that, as you mentioned. Like, this is a Vince McMahon project. It's a long-term project. He's not losing the WWE Championship anytime soon, especially with the company going public again and all this stuff. I think Roman Reigns being on top is important. So
when they were public before,
yeah, but it's different. It's different now. They just got bought, and it's going, and all the WWE stock is going to shift over to the TKO holding stock. So all of my WWE stock, and I got a bunch of it, pal, and it ain't going nowhere. I got a bunch.
I know. You've told me. I can see why you're heavy on the Roman Reigns train. I can see why you're sucking him off.
He's breaking every single record he's breaking record after record after record from a statistical standpoint. It's just getting, every year the company just gets bigger.
You're doing your fucking metrics and statistics, man. I'm telling you.
What it's about, baby.
You're gonna drive me up a wall.
The business of the business, bro. I stopped caring about the real booking of the show, the fan aspect of it a few years ago. I still enjoy it. I'm still able to, suspend disbelief and enjoy it as a fan. But at the end of the day, I'm more interested in my own personal staking in wrestling. Like, I'd like to maybe have a job someday in professional wrestling, maybe not in the WWE, but doing something. And you need to have an understanding of the business to do that. So I think it's important to keep a focus on that as well. And when you have a train that's just steamrolling ahead and just making you money, it's just a money-making machine. You got to be really careful what your next steps are, especially now. So that's why I think Roman Reigns, they're going to strap that rocket ship to his back for the future. If he does lose the belt this year, I will be the first one to say I was wrong, unless he gets injured or gets another mysterious bout of leukemia, God forbid, something like that. I think he's got the belt. I think he's going to be shooting towards that 2,000-day run. I really do.
I'll tell you the same thing, man. Once again,
I know.
No reason why you can't boost your metrics and still put on a good show.
You can, but you also want to have this opportunity to break these records, right? Records are only good so they can be broken. And if you're ever going to sniff Bruno Sammartino or Hulk Hogan or any of these big reigns at the top, Pedro Morales, these guys, you're going to have to do it now, because you're not going to do it. Who else is there going to be? Who else is a candidate to do this?
That would have been fine if Roman Reigns actually has people that can stand up to him. There's no one left. Once they do, they have about maybe 2 or 3 guys left. You have AJ, you have Bobby, and that is pretty much it, dude.
Well, you're forgetting there's a whole other wrestling company out there that guys are going to leave in droves, right? It's called
WWE is going to be a company that they're going to leave in droves too.
Well, yeah, and that's going to be a cost-cutting measure because they're going into this new venture, right? So they're going to have
some of them will leave willingly.
You're going to see wrestlers from AEW come back to WWE, and you're going to see a lot of challengers to Roman Reigns in the future that are going to be new and fresh. You're going to see a lot happen. You're going to see people come up from NXT to challenge him. There's going to be an entire fresh roster to challenge him for that belt.
NXT maybe, but when it comes to AEW, I mean, after Cody lost, and if Cody's not going to be the guy, they're not going to get Omega. They're not going to get the Bucks. They're
They
not.
don't want the Bucks. The Bucks.
They were absolutely eyeing the Young Bucks with Kenny Omega. Where Kenny goes, the Young Bucks will go.
You know who's the biggest guy that's going to go back to WWE and challenge Roman Reigns? It's CM Punk. Let's face it.
He's not going back
there.
Yeah,
he is.
Not a chance. Not.
What do you think? What do you think he was doing at Raw?
He has too much of an ego to even stand face to face with some of the people. Yes, he was backstage to professionally talk some shit out and bury the hatchet. But at the end of the day, if you actually think that he's working there again, you got another thing coming. Once this AEW deal is over, he's not going to be wrestling until he's 50. He's 43. Well, he's approaching 44. He's going to be wrestling for the next 2 years until he's 46, and that's it. Once his AEW runs over, after he comes back, that's it. He's done. He's made his money.
You're at it. Dude, you are so. Let me just give you some constructive criticism here as far as like wrestling history is concerned, bro. People were saying Hulk Hogan was done in 1999. They were like, he's done.
Major difference.
Vince Russo ran into WCW and said, this guy's done. He's a dinosaur. He's a relic. 2 years later, he was in the main event of WrestleMania in one of the biggest matches they've ever had at WrestleMania against The Rock. Now, CM Punk has a lot of money to make with one more WWE run. Being able to right the wrongs of the past, being able to rebuild bridges, mend fences. Trust me, dude, they all go back. Everyone goes back. There isn't a single wrestler that hasn't gone back. There's not a single one. Name one that hasn't.
There will be. The first will be Punk. I will tell you right now.
No way. He's going back, and he's going back.
We got to put money on this shit. Before this ends, we will put money on this shit.
I will bet you $500 right now. I will bet you $500 right now that CM Punk goes back to the WWE, cashes in video games, action figures, t-shirts, a world tour, merchant, the whole thing. He's going back, and it's going to light the wrestling world on fire once again. Remember, where did CM Punk work before he worked in AEW?
He did work in WWE. And
then where did he work? Where did he work in between WWE and AEW?
UFC.
Bingo. He has a relationship with them already. These fences are being rebuilt. The bridge is being rebuilt.
Dude, he'll work with the UFC, no problem. He's not working under Vince again.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe under Triple H once Vince croaks.
No. Vince McMahon is going to be in charge. Vince McMahon's new role, he's in charge of the business side of both WWE and UFC. He is going to be the president of TKO Holdings. So he is going to be in charge of both companies from the business perspective. He's going to have Nick Khan working under him in WWE and Dana White working under him in UFC. These guys, Dana White and Nick Khan, these guys have big picture. I'm telling you. Do you want to bet $500 right now? I'll pay up the $500 if I lose.
All right, well, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll throw down the 500. Let's see what happens.
Dylan, Sarah, everybody in the chat. He's not taking the bet because he knows I'm right. You know I'm right.
I just said, let's throw down 500. I just said.
Deal. $500. Bruno went back. Ultimate Warrior went back. Hulk Hogan went back. Kevin Nash went back. They all went back. Ric Flair went back. Superstar Billy Graham went back.
If he's going to go back, here's the thing. If he will go back, he will go back for a Hall of Fame induction, nothing more.
No, he's going back for one more run,
He will go back for a Hall of Fame induction. Same thing with Jericho. Same thing with Moxley. If the Shield gets inducted, it's the same thing, man. I'm telling you. Not going back. Certain stars will not go back. At some point in time, tradition will break.
All right, man.
At some point in time.
I'm trying to talk some sense into here that there's a reason why this whole AEW thing is falling apart so rapidly with CM Punk.
Yeah, because there's no leadership in AEW. That's the problem.
Well,
Tony Khan does not know how to be a CEO when it comes to major situations like this. And at the end of the day, listen, I can shit on Vince McMahon all I want. He's a piece of shit, and he needs to be removed immediately. But it would have never happened in WWE because at least WWE has a solid foundation of management that will rule with an iron fist. This is why I keep on saying that Tony Khan needs to spread out responsibilities and he needs to start acting like a CEO. Punk doesn't want to go back. He is just in a scenario where he's trying to get the most out of AEW, and he's trying to manipulate the system because he sees Tony Khan as an easy target to manipulate the system around AEW and get as much money and get as much of his demands out of him as possible. I see it. CM Punk's an egomaniac. He's great, but he's an egomaniac.
There's a lot. There's a world tour. There's a CM Punk best in the world tour to happen in WWE. And if you're telling me that they don't want to bank in on that, cash in on selling out arena after arena for a CM Punk return tour, you are not looking at
WWE. Yes, I believe that they would. But Punk, he will never put his ego aside to do that. Never.
Yes, he will. Yes, that's why he went back to Raw, dude. He went to Raw. He went to Raw to bury the hatchet.
Monday Night Raw to bury some hatchets because at the end of the day, he probably knows that he wants a Hall of Fame induction over there. That he probably wants, and that I wouldn't, blame him for that. I wouldn't blame him for that. I would want a fucking Hall of Fame induction too, with the legacy that Punk left behind in WWE and the great world title reign that he had.
Look at Edge right now, dude. Look at Edge just came back. And he's having a phenomenal run, putting on some of the best matches of his life, right?
Yes. But Edge never went to AEW. Edge didn't have the falling out with WWE like Punk had. Major difference there, man.
That's nothing compared to the falling out that Ultimate Warrior had with them, that Hulk Hogan had with them. The CM Punk falling out is child's play compared to the Bruno Sammartino falling out, the superstar Billy Graham fall. It's child's play compared to all of that stuff in the past. I'm telling you, even Stone Cold Steve Austin, even him walking out before Raw, like CM Punk essentially did the same thing, but at least he had the conversation. Stone Cold didn't even have the conversation. Stone Cold just left. He said, "I'm not doing this.
We'll see what happens in the future.
It will happen sooner than you think." And I think that's going to be a major challenger to Roman Reigns.
I'll be keeping an eye on it, man.
They're not going to take the belt off of Roman Reigns until CM Punk comes back to challenge him.
Not going to happen. I'm telling you, man, I'm the one guy that you ain't going to break on this.
I'm not trying to break you. I'm not trying to break you at all. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. And you're telling me it's not.
I'm telling you it's not. I'm telling you. But
all right.
That wraps up this edition of The Rundown. We went through a lot of heavy-hitting topics as well. Almost 2 hours, some solid content. I would like to thank each and every single one of you for tuning into this stream. And Mr. Alletto, always appreciate your analytical stance, bringing a lot of good topics to the table. Some very, very nice discussions here, some very nice predictions and analytical takes on all of these matches. And I hope to have you back very, very soon. Hopefully when the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view comes around, I will be calling you in for a potential rundown or rewind. One more time, where can everyone find you on social media?
As always, an absolute pleasure to be on the show, brother. Sorry about the headphone miscommunication.
No worries.
So yeah, you could find me at PWP Nation. The acronym PWP is short for Pro Wrestling Powerhouse. And that's exactly what I'm all about, right? We're going to be the Pro Wrestling Powerhouse here and into the future. So head over to pwpnation.com. As always, my name's Jay Alletto. You can find me there. I've been a part of GTS Wrestling over the past year, taking kind of a sabbatical right now. But you check out GTS Wrestling. I urge you to check that out if you want a different twist on the business. Some fun stuff, some fun shenanigans happen over there. But as always, check me out at PWP Nation. Hopefully, you and I will work together more in the future. And I am thrilled to be on your show anytime. So thank you so much for this opportunity, bro.
You already know the drill, people. Once again, thank you, Mr. Alletto. Check out all the links in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, he's Jay Alletto. I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rundown. But before we get out of here, Jay Alletto, you already know the question. Listen, you may have the business side of things figured out, but there is only one man who runs the IWC. Who is it?
There he is, DJ Storms, brother.
Damn right, baby. Who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the Eye of the Storm with Vic Delicious.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.